Let's see if we can get live this week on time.
Hey, we're on. It says we're live. I think we're live.
Is this a low enough V-neck? I was thinking of going lower for you.
Do you have another button you could open?
I know, but I can go.
Oh.
I can get up like a pair of scissors.
Yeah, there you go.
I think if I just do it right here at the edge, the illusion of the deeper V-neck will hit the audience very well.
I can't start the show like that, John. Welcome to Talking Heads, episode 146, your once weekly live show for the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff.
I'm John.
Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us on this Wednesday evening. If you've never seen the show before, we stream once per week. We talk tech, we talk beer, we talk games, entertainment, pop culture, Star Trek, etc. Although we do drink on the show, we do keep the content family friendly in both language and content alike. If you are drinking along with us, either alcoholic or not, do let us know in the chat and we'll give some early show shoutouts along on here. All super chats are read on the air, assuming they meet our family friendly criteria, and I can say them without getting demonetized. And if you'd like to be part of the super secret chat in the Discord, you can join the Patreon. Link is down in the video description. And every single Wednesday, we also do an after show where you can live chat on video with me or whoever the co-host happens to be that week.
Yep.
It's becoming kind of a weekly tradition, so it's been a lot of fun.
It gets pretty big, and you get to kind of see all your other Patreons too. So it's quite fun.
It's been a lot of fun, and if you are not catching the show live, or you're watching on, a repeat some other time, you can now catch all of our Talking Heads on Anchor.fm, or wherever your podcasts are found. We are now officially a podcast, so get on it.
Wait, they can't see what I look like though.
Right.
So they need to come back and view the video. They need to.
Ooh, William's drinking a Courage and Stone Manhattan. Excellent. I had one of those a couple of weeks ago. It was delicious. I want to say fairly lofty expectations for the Courage and Stone Old Fashioned and the Manhattan, and they both still blew them away. I expected, because of the marketing and because Aisha Tyler making such a big deal about this is not like sour mix or like tastes like vermouth. No, it's vermouth and it's whiskey and it's bitters, and that's all that's in there, and it's an 80 proof ready to pour cocktail. I had some pretty high expectations, and they were still completely met. Those are so good.
How big were those bottles?
They're 200 mils. They're about $20 for 200 mils, or you buy you can get both bottles, I think, for $30.
Oh, that's not too bad.
But you pour yourself 2 to 3 ounces of one of those. That's less than a quarter of the bottle.
Yeah.
So it's still less than you'd pay bar prices. It's obviously more expensive than making one yourself out of a decent whiskey. But
well, the thing is, though, it's the convenience of I don't have to do anything.
Open the bottle and pour it, right? And they were fantastic. All right. Big Spoon had a $5 donation. Congrats on the 100% likes ratio per rating. Although that quickly went downhill, I hear, because apparently a bunch of people are disliking the stream. But thank you, Big Spoon, for the early encouragement, or rather encouraging the trolls, as it might have.
It's probably all of his stuff, and my bits is people just dislike.
Yeah.
Trinity Brewhouse Belgian strawberry beer at 12.5%. John is drinking. Oh, that sounds like a tasty beer.
Yeah. What else we have in here? One like equals one little bit closer to the new beer fridge. For me or for John?
Yeah, I know. Don't bring it. It's a sore subject, guys.
John had some fridge trouble this week.
I had something die. It was close to my heart. It stored all of my precious.
Yep. I offered to do my part, and
yes, I'm sure everyone offered to do their part.
Keep it in my deep storage. Yeah, John had his beer fridge die on him this week, and apparently it's not going to be repairable.
No, it is. It is. Well, I mean, anything is repairable for the right price.
Right.
But yeah, I'm not going to pay that. It's the same price to buy a brand new fridge, so might as well just go get a new fridge.
Yeah. Although you won't have that fancy glass double door and.
Yeah, well, no, I the one I'm looking at one. It's a fancy glass double door, but I won't have the Pepsi logo.
You won't have the marquee on it.
I won't have the marquee on it. Yeah, I do like the light up marquee. So I'll miss that. I might keep the marquee and have it like hanging up in the background as an homage to my first double wide fridge.
Yep. You got to get another one eventually too. Definitely.
Yeah. So, well, yeah, right now I have stacks of boxes of beer in my living room, and it almost goes up to like the TV hanging on the wall. That's how high they're stacked up. Steve came over yesterday because we did a video, and we had to go and find a beer, and that was so difficult. It probably took me about 10 minutes to find the beer because I was digging through boxes and bending over. I was like, this is a pain in the butt to find one beer. I want a fridge.
Yeah. Speaking of beer, let's go ahead and open ours since we're already into the show.
All right. I'm going to go.
What do you got?
I think Steve had this one on the show, but he said it was really good. So I wanted to have it. It is the Brewing Project's Resist. I think he's had that. It is
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it's a blood orange milkshake IPA with Citra and Mosaic.
Nice.
So I had one. That one. Open it.
So I've got two options here. Not quite sure which one I want to go with first. So both of them happen to be, I think, 9.2%. Yep, they're both 9.2. And they're very, very different styles. So that was a great pour, John. Look at that.
Thank you. Better than your last video.
He gets one every once in a while. So my two options are Monk's Triple Ale, which is it's a Belgian Abbey from Abbey Brewing Company in actually New Mexico. Abiquiu, New Mexico, I believe.
Holy crap.
Yeah. Abiquiu. However you say that.
However you say that.
Yeah. Monk's Triple Ale.
How much was that bottle?
I don't know. It was
this one. Okay, it was given to you?
Yeah, this one was sent in. This one was also sent in. So this is Crooked Stave. This is the Atom beer. It's a Dortmunder sour alt beer aged in bourbon barrels.
Ooh, an alt
also
beer.
Checking in at 9.2. So
I do know I've had some Crooked Stave before. They are a nice brewery. The other one, the Belgian one, haven't had that.
Yep. I think I'm going to start with the Belgian, and I'm going to put the sour back in the fridge while
I was going to say, make sure to keep that at least cold.
Yeah, exactly. So, how's yours though?
It is very sweet and very orangey. It is nothing like an IPA. Yeah, that's vanilla and orange.
Nice.
I mean, it's good. It's really good. Don't get me wrong. It's just, I kind of get tired of milkshake IPAs and these sweeter IPAs because they're not really IPAs. You know, there's no actual hop flavor in it. It's all sweet juice.
Yeah.
Can we come up with a different classification and not call these IPAs? Can we just call these like juice beers or something?
Like, I don't mind the juicy IPAs. Because
I don't mind juicy IPAs,
right, because those are still hop forward.
Mm-hmm.
But the milkshake IPAs, you're destroying everything that makes it an IPA.
Yeah,
you happen to make it with hops, but hops is kind of essential to making beer anyway. So I don't know what makes it an IPA.
You're making this huge sugar bomb beer, and you're just like, well, I dry hopped it in the secondary, so it's an IPA technically.
It's technically an IPA.
Yeah, right. And it's like, no. When I see that, yeah. I expect X.
Right.
I would have way more respect for a brewery if they found a way to balance a hoppy and orange vanilla flavor instead of just, hey, let's dump a bunch of sugar in this, because that's what this tastes like. And now it's still very good. I'm getting really tired of these being called IPAs.
Right.
So Big Spoon's always like, I swear, every time I'm on the show, on chat. Anyway, Patreon. Sorry, guys. If you want to see what we're talking about, join the Patreon. So, yeah.
It's not bad. This one's not bad.
The Belgian?
Yeah. I've definitely had much, much better Belgians. We're kind of spoiled over here because there's the... what is the one over in Mount Angel?
Mount Angel? The Benedict Brewing?
Benedict, yeah. Benedictine.
Or Benedictine, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Benedictine Brewing, which is also a Belgian abbey brewery ran by the monks who go there. So I'm a little bit biased, but this isn't bad. But it's missing a lot of that clove and ester.
A good that
what
clove
makes
ester,
it
the yeasty Belgian esters. Yeah. Unfortunately, like one of our favorite Belgian breweries is now closed.
Yes.
And that stinks. But man, their Golden Strong was probably one of the best Golden Strongs I've ever had.
True that.
Maybe now that they're closed, maybe I'll ask them for the recipe. Like, come on, man. He's like, you're never going to use it again. Let me have it.
Yeah. Come on, bro. Be a bro.
Yeah. Be a bro, bro. Come on, bro. Jeez, bro.
Exactly. All right. Well, that's enough of that. Let's go ahead and get into the news. And we'll just jump straight into probably where all my dislikes on this show have come from. And that is the Oculus Rift announcement, or the Oculus announcement, as it were, that everyone's been kind of waiting for, but had not shown up yet. But that is, today we are announcing some important updates to how people log into Oculus devices while still keeping their VR profile. Starting in October 2020, everyone using an Oculus device for the first time will need to log into Facebook. End quote. If you're an existing user and already have an Oculus account, you'll have the option to log in with Facebook and merge your Oculus and Facebook accounts, because that sounds like a great idea. After January 1st, 2023, we will end support for Oculus accounts, so you will have to merge it with a Facebook account.
Yeah.
And the reaction was pretty much that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot wrong there. I don't even know where to start. There's security issues. There is just the annoyance of having to do that, whether you have a Facebook account or not. The fact that they're not backwards compatible or keeping the Oculus account still available. It sounds like they're shutting it off very quickly.
Yep. By October, all new users will be required to use Facebook.
Yeah.
So you will no longer be able to create an Oculus account.
Yeah, well, and then they're not going to support an Oculus account for a while after that either.
They'll be supported through January 2023.
Okay.
So still, 2.5 years away.
Still 2.5 years, yeah, but
this was what we were afraid of when Facebook bought Oculus.
Yeah.
This is the one thing that we said we're okay with this as long as you don't require Facebook to use your device.
Yeah.
And here we are.
And now they're going to be tracking most likely all of the games you play, everything you do on Oculus.
Right. Well, it's not only that, but they're also generating an ad profile on you by having a Facebook account. They're hoping to get you to use Facebook, and they're trying to integrate more of the games marketplace that they're trying to cultivate over there, although they've been very, very poor at doing so.
Yeah. And they got their new gaming channel that's coming out too, huh? Or the gaming service channel. streaming service or whatever,
right?
Because they're trying to do something like Twitch.
But take it from someone who has seen the industry grow to a point where it's mainstream. And I'm not talking like VR. I'm talking just PC gaming in general. Excuse me. And that is, forced integration never works. If you force me to log into a service and I didn't log into that service by choice, I will not use your service. EA is learning this with Origin. Ubisoft is learning this with Uplay. Yeah. Epic is learning this. That you can. The only reason Epic is getting a foothold right now is because they're giving so many games away. But that's going to dry up eventually. And the people who are on Steam who go, well, yeah, I can get a couple of free games over there, or I can just buy it on Steam and all my stuff is still in the same place, and I like Steam's Friends integration, and I like their service, and they treat me right, and everything else. Steam and Good Old Games are kind of the two, top end players in the industry, and it's because they're user focused and user centric, and they're giving users what they want. Whereas when EA said to play an EA game, you now have to create an Origin account, and you have to download the Origin launcher, and we're pulling all of our games over to us. How many people stopped buying EA games? I certainly did.
I did, unless I got it for free.
Right.
Yeah. Or a stream discount.
Right. So here's my story with EA games, with EA and Origin. Okay. So wind the clock back to like 2011, I want to say. I bought a retail disc copy of Need for Speed Shift. I went to register that copy with the CD key, brand new out of the box. It was in shrink wrap. It had the EA seal over both ends of the box. It was a brand new box. Okay. I went home. I went to install the game and register that CD key. And that CD key was... My internet connection's unstable, or yours is?
Yeah, I don't know. I saw that.
Yeah.
Mine just flickered. Hang on, I'm gonna try something on my end.
Yeah. I can tell you OBS isn't dropping any frames. Anyway, so I went home and tried to register the game and play the game. And it said, your CD key is invalid. It's already been used. And so right off the bat, I already had to call EA and say, no, I just bought the game. And then I had to send them in a scanned copy of the disc of the CD, or of the CD itself, of the jewel case, and of the CD key. And then they sent me a new CD key. And so I registered that new CD key, and I was able to get online and play. That worked for about 3 months. And then all of a sudden, I went to log in using the EA Games account that I had set up to register that CD key. Oh, were you on Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
So I went to log into the game, and it said, we're sorry, you don't have a valid version of this game. You can't play online anymore. And so I emailed back to EA, and I said, what the crap? And they said, yeah, you're using an invalid CD key. And I'm like, it's the CD key you provided me in this previous email chain that I'm responding with, because now this CD key isn't working either. Okay, so like I've already had 2 issues inside of a month of not being able to play this game. Finally, they send me another CD key. I get that one. I run it for however long, and then I stop using the game. Well, a couple years later, they say, if you have an EA Games account, we're going to roll that into Origin. Okay, so any game that you've registered with an EA Games account and you provided a valid CD key for, you'll get on Origin. So I said, okay, cool. So I went to log into my account, and my account had been compromised, and I had been locked out of my account.
Yeah,
so
that actually happened to me too.
So I get that fixed, get on there, and hey, Need for Speed Shift showed up as a game that was registered to my account. So okay, cool. So I downloaded it, and then I went to play it, and it said, we're sorry, you don't have a valid CD key. You can't play online. So I called EA and they said, yeah, that's because you don't have a valid CD key for the game. I said, but it's on my account and I've registered and here's the email chain. They said, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I
That's
mean,
one game.
One game. Well, I know. And you most likely just got like, some customer service person basically. But yeah, I think something like that happened to me. I think it was a Battlefield or Call of Duty. I forget which one's on Origin, but same thing. Purchased it, or I got it as a gift, and I registered
Battlefield 4 was free for a while on Origin. 1942, I think, was free for a while on there.
Yeah, it was definitely. It was after 1942. But yeah, I think it was either 4 or it wasn't 1. There was one like a bank robbery one. I forget what it was.
Yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, something similar to where I had to get like a new key essentially to get it to work, and every time I downloaded it, or tried to run it, it would just freak out. Or I always had problems running Origin. I always wanted to play that game, but it seemed almost every time I went on, it would, you have to update this now. You have to update your game to play. You have to update the software to play. And it wasn't even the game. It was like, you have to update the Origin, the Origin front end or the Origin back end, the program that you're doing, so you can play it. And it's going to take you 20 minutes to do it. And just like, A
couple of people have said, boy, Jeff is really sour over that EA game from, almost 10 years ago now. The problem is that was the first experience with Origin when they started up their service, was them basically saying, no, sorry, you don't own this game, even though I had an email chain going back, 5 years that said I did indeed. It was, for some reason now, at one point I had done a name change on EA. And so now I have 2 usernames, both of which had their passwords compromised, even though they were completely unique passwords to EA. But they've never disclosed that there was actually a compromise to the service. I've been locked out of my account numerous times. I've gotten on there and I've gotten some of their free games, like John was mentioning. I picked up Battlefield 4 for free. I picked up a couple other games for free on there, but now they're on 2 separate accounts, and I still have issues. I think I was trying to play Battlefield 3 one day, and it said, "We're sorry, you don't have a valid license for this game." It's like, I downloaded it from your service.
How do I not have it?
I don't know what to tell you. And that's been my experience since day one, and this is 9 years later. And all of a sudden Origin is folding, and they're going, oh, we're just going to become like an online community now, and we're going to get rid of Origin, and we're going to go back to Steam and whatnot. Do you know why they go back to Steam? It's because Steam takes care of their users, and Steam has excellent customer service by most regards, and most of my experiences with them have been excellent.
Yeah.
And I've had issues with Steam, but you know what? That one issue was solved, and then it never became an issue again. Whereas with EA, I had to call them up like 4 times to get Need for Speed Shift unlocked, and I had the physical media for it as proof. And then eventually they just said, screw it, sorry, you don't own that game.
Well, I mean, and I wonder now because Steam basically seemed to have perfected that online menu and, like you said, customer service. And Facebook now seems to be like, oh, let's dip our toe in that with the Oculus.
Right.
And you're going to be like, okay, now are they going to require me to only play these VR games through their service? Or I have to sign up through, now I have to already sign up through Facebook to play it. But are these, Oculus or Facebook games only? Because I'm sure they'll probably release their own games that are, only for Facebook or Oculus that are VR. And heck, I'm sure they'll have a couple fun ones, but are they, it seems almost every single online gaming platform other than Steam has failed horribly because they haven't built the infrastructure behind it, the customer service basis to handle all the errors that are probably going to happen, and they just rushed it out.
Right.
So another problem with this whole Facebook Oculus thing of being required is super, super annoying. Like you said, the EA and
there's a couple things to this. There's the customer side of things. There's our side of, I just want to buy games and play them. I don't want I don't want yet another company tracking my usage.
Yeah.
In some regards, like I own a Google domain. I'm on YouTube, for crying out loud. Google owns half my life. They know who I am, but I know who they are. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
But the thing is, when there's 70 companies tracking your everyday life and doing nothing but marketing to you, and it gets a little weird. Like I'm okay like selling my soul to one company.
Yeah.
But all of them, there are some that I don't want to do business with, and Facebook is one of them.
It's literally like that Futurama episode where they have like the iPhones or whatever.
The iPhone, yeah.
Yeah, and
hold on, we just need to install it. What do you mean install it? Yeah.
And then all these ads start popping up for Fry, just because they're basically like, oh yeah, I like that, and then they just start tracking all of his data and what his needs are or what they feel his needs are, and yeah, it does seem like it is going to become that again too, especially for you or other say YouTubers that are particularly gamers, and if they do need to review that game or that product. Now you are an online presence, and you might even have social media accounts. And the other bad part too is Facebook and Instagram are now the same thing. So you have multiple things. Now they didn't state this, but can I have an Instagram account and not a Facebook account?
I think they are the same thing at this point.
Yeah.
But anyway, so there's the customer side of things, there's the consumer side of things, but then there's also the business and developer side of this equation as well. Because much like Apple and Epic, which by the way, we'll get into Apple and Epic here in just a bit, but there's a parallel with Facebook forcing you to use Oculus and using the Oculus storefront for everything Oculus. Yep. And look no further than big screen VR. So here's a Twitter thread, and I'm going to do my best to kind of paraphrase this. Let's talk about how Facebook is screwing us in VR. Big screen VR, for those who don't know, is basically a movie theater style VR game. Not really a game, but it's a social media experience. Yeah. Where you put on the headset, you have an avatar, you sit in a room with other people in other headsets, but you can sit there and watch a movie in a theater, in a living room, in whatever environment you want to be in. You can talk, you can interact, you can play games with people. But Big Screen VR, one of their main goals was to become, quote, the iTunes of VR movie rental. VR and 3D movie rental, because 3D effects, by the way, they work great in 3D games. They also work tremendously well in movies. Yeah.
Imagine seeing behind the movie, like what's going on.
Right. And so basically what they were looking to do is charge $4.99 for a movie rental per admission. And so if you want to watch a movie with a bunch of your friends, you pay $4.99, you join the room, and then you all sit there and watch the movie. They were doing digital distribution of these films, and they were doing it through their own storefront. The problem now is Facebook is going to force them to go through the Facebook storefront in order to do this checkout, because Facebook wants their 30% commission. The problem is that at the $4.99 price point, they were only making about $1. Now, with the Oculus app fee plus the Facebook monopolization of the App Store, they would lose more than $1 for every $1 that Facebook makes. And so he goes, our business model is completely non-feasible now. It cannot work in this environment without raising our price, which is then very anti-consumer, because $5 is, in the gaming sense of things,
a rental. Yeah,
it is a rental. That's free cash. That's, I can drop that. What happens if it's $8 or $9, because now the developer needs to take a cut?
Yeah.
And Facebook is going to get 30%. All of a sudden, you're left with the same exact situation that Epic is fighting Apple with, with Fortnite, and which has been brought up in numerous different antitrust thoughts, but Epic's really the first one that's taken them to court for it. So yeah, this is going to get complicated very, very quick for Facebook, for developers, for people who have their own standing app stores and DLC content, itch.io, all of the independent storefronts that were, charging you $1 to make something. Well, if you're charging a dollar to buy a VR game or have a VR experience, or charging a $2 rental, what happens if all of a sudden you've got to give 30% right off the top to Facebook? Well, 30% was your profit margin. Do you raise by 30% so you can get the same, so you can literally make the same amount of money as Facebook now? Do you raise by more so you get a bigger cut? But you're also...
Well, if you're a new company too, then you probably can't do that. You need to keep that low price point to entice people to come in.
Right.
Yeah. Like I said, there's so many angles of this you can look at. There's something bad just about every angle, and nothing really that's saying, oh, that's actually not too bad, that's pretty good. Nothing's really pointing to that right now.
Yeah. So yeah, the whole situation is a mess, and eventually, well, taking it back to EA, and you can also equate this to a lot of the the multiple different streaming services we have to subscribe to now if you want to watch one show or another, where Netflix was trying to be the Steam of the video world, where if you want to watch a movie, you have a Netflix subscription, you pay $8 a month, and you get whatever show you need.
Yep.
And if everyone pays $8, everyone makes money. Now, Netflix makes more than ABC and Universal, and you go down the list of Netflix obviously takes a larger percentage, but it's not like the other,
networks,
production companies and networks and whatnot weren't making money by having their content on there. But all of a sudden you have some breakouts from that, and CBS going, well, we're going to do our own thing. We're going to go make our own streaming service without blackjack and hookers. And it's like, okay, well, while Netflix has a very enticing catalog, an enticing library and catalog of things that I might want to watch, what is CBS going to give me? Well, we've got CSI and NCIS and Star Trek. Okay, so if I'm a fan of those, maybe that's worth $2 a month. You want $10 a month? That's more than I was giving Netflix to get 100 times the library.
The content,
sorry, but we need to make our money so we can keep this content rolling.
Yeah, and
no, you just wanted your own piece of pie.
Yeah, exactly.
And now, how many streaming services are there? I've completely lost count.
There's one for every network, basically.
There's one for every network. Plus, there's one for almost every single cable channel you would ever want, except ESPN, which you still have to get bundled in with a larger service. So you can't just get ESPN streaming on its own.
I think that's still like Apple. That's like streamed in with Apple or something like that.
No, you have to have a cable service. You have to have a cable or satellite service to get ESPN on demand.
No, I think they're with Apple Plus now. I think
you get ESPN on Apple Plus?
I think it's like, because I remember seeing a commercial today or yesterday.
Wait. Is it actual ESPN or is it ESPN Plus, which was basically ESPN the Ocho? So I fell into this because a couple of years ago, this is many years ago. I cut the plug and went completely streaming. And I think I had a $30 account with PlayStation Vue when they first launched, but then 30 became 60 within like 9 months, and I went, screw this, I'm out. I wasn't down with paying $100 to satellite anymore. I was okay with paying $30 to get like Discovery and ESPN. But if you guys aren't even going to play ball at $30, then I'm out. And I cut the cord, and I've never been happier. But ESPN started advertising that they had ESPN Plus, and you could sign up for like $6 a month, and you could watch college football and professional basketball and professional soccer.
You're like,
and,
yes.
And I went, okay, if I can get like even half of my games that I want to watch,
and I got my VPN,
$6 is totally worth it. So I signed up on a college football Saturday, like on like middle of September, right at the beginning of conference season.
Yeah, you're like, there's that game I want to see.
Right, there's one game I want to see. I'll give you my $6 and let's go. And they said, yeah, you can watch hundreds of college football games. It was literally like Alabama A&M at Marquette. That was my single Division A game that I could watch on that Saturday. That was the only game. There were also two Division III games that were on.
Yeah,
and that was all of the college
hundreds of community college football teams.
Right. In our area, it may as well have been Chemeketa at Willamette.
Yeah.
What was broadcasting on ESPN Plus for $6 a month. And I had the service for all of about 10 minutes, and I went to cancel my account, and they said, sorry, you're still in your free trial. You can't cancel yet.
Oh,
what the hell I can't.
Yeah. I know, I've had that. I even go on that, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to set an alarm on my phone the day before I have to do it, so my card does not get charged again.
Right.
Oh, and then they charged me early. Actually, that happened recently, too. But I was like, screw you guys. I canceled.
No. But... yeah, it's all the same thing. Consumers win when a company is all about giving to the consumer and taking a fair chunk. Consumers lose when the source company wants every last dollar for themselves. They don't want a third party, in the middle of whatever they're doing. Even though that's what they claim movie theaters do.
Yeah.
Which they don't. So, yeah, we had the golden age of streaming. The golden age of streaming has passed because now you have to subscribe to all of these other channels. And when it's like, oh, it's $6 here and $7 there and $10 there. And then, Disney Plus is really the only one that's worth it anymore at $8 a month. It's the only one. And it's only worth it if you have kids.
Yeah, that was gonna say, because really, there's not a whole
lot.
The
Mandalorian was great.
It was
all
great.
10 episodes of it.
Yeah.
If I can binge it in a week, it ain't worth $8 a month. I'm sorry.
What's funny is I started rewatching it because the new season is supposed to be coming out really soon. So I want to kind of refresh my course. I was like, this is good. It's actually not as easy to rewatch. Mm-hmm. It's a lot slower. Because I think all the anticipation, I know what's going to happen. And I think it's probably just because it's still really fresh in my mind. But yeah, as far as Disney Plus, there really isn't a whole lot of good original content. But if you're like, what Disney movie, cartoon series, I got my kid, sit down, go. And it's portable, that it's great like that. And Apple TV, no, and it is ESPN Plus on Apple TV, so you're correct.
Hey Jeff, how are you watching the Blazer games? Where's my pirate hat? Hold on. Actually, I do right now have a Hulu subscription, so I am watching legitimately through Hulu's live broadcast. It's $55 a month. I'm not happy at that price point. I signed up at the beginning of the NBA season, and it's really because, for those who don't follow Northwest sports news, I just excluded 98% of my audience. But for those who don't know, Comcast likes to go into sports markets, buy up the sports market, and then try to resell you cable.
Yeah.
And their cable packages are as predatory as their internet packages are. And they try to get you to bundle everything together so you can get your cable internet and your cable TV and your voice over IP and whatever other services they can give you. Because they try to get like $250 a head, is when they're going out and selling services. Well, I would rather not give Comcast $1, although they're the only high-speed provider in my area. Well, no, you have choices. Yeah, I have a DSL provider. I can get 1.5 megs. Woohoo. If I didn't want Comcast, which I considered. But But yeah, so I did at the beginning of the basketball season sign up for Hulu. When the pandemic hit, I went, okay, well, this may not last too long. And so I just kind of kept the subscription up just in case. And actually, I thought I had canceled it in June. Turns out I didn't cancel it in June, so I paid for July without realizing it. But then we started up back in August, so we're good to go. So yeah, I'm been watching all the NBA games on Hulu.
Oh, I would have given you my password. Like, here you
do you have the Hulu live streaming, or do you have just a Hulu account?
No, DirecTV.
Oh, okay.
So
well, you can't get NBC Sports Northwest on DirecTV. You have to be a Comcast customer to get it.
Yes, but all the games are also broadcast on TNT.
Only the national games are.
Only the national
which is 19 of the 82.
Yes, but right now in the playoffs. Right now in the playoffs, it's fine.
You could, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like DirecTV is going, well, we have Blazer games too. Yeah, you have less than a quarter of them.
Yeah.
I don't
Well, yeah, we have the minimum package. So
right. But no, yeah, Comcast literally will not. Comcast with NBC Northwest contract ends in 2021. Yeah, but they also re-upped it in 2018, which is when it was supposed to end as well. So, yeah. Sounds like Jeff is canceling Hulu tonight. No, I'll keep it on. I've done some of the streaming sites before. There's a couple that I've gone to for out-of-market games and things like that. There is something to be said for just being able to turn on the TV and click your remote once and be done and know you're going to get a 1080p signal.
Yeah, I hate having
instead of a 720 that fades to 640 that then buffers for 6 minutes and then cuts out inexplicably
like this and just froze.
Right.
And then they're on 2 plays later, like, what happened?
Right. Or the best one is when it actually stutters on itself and rewinds like 2 minutes. Has that happened to you?
No, that's never happened to me.
Yeah. This happens all the time with me when I'm trying to do those sites. Is it'll like glitch out for a second and then you'll get the loading thing, and then it'll literally like go back in time 2 minutes and play the same segment over again. It's like,
oh, we're going back to where we were perfectly fine buffering, and hopefully your load time will work.
Right.
How's that Belgian? Getting any better?
It's good. I want to preface this with it's good. It's a good beer. It's not a great Belgian. The Belgian notes are so far back in the flavor. It's malty good. If you told me this was a very high malty Irish red,
yeah,
I'd believe you.
Yeah.
This is not an Irish red. This is supposed to be an Abbey Triple. This ain't no Abbey Triple.
Yeah. Well, I mean, those are pretty malty, but yeah, you're correct. It's supposed to have these spice notes. It's supposed to have the clove.
It's supposed to clove, ester, cinnamon.
Yeah. The
chai.
Yeast has a very unique flavor, and it's like it sounds more like, oh, we built a Belgian Tripel recipe and we put American yeast into it.
That's kind of what it tastes like. I think you hit it right on the head. That, like I said, it's a very good beer. I'm enjoying this beer, but it is certainly not a Belgian Abbey style ale.
Yeah, it Belgian inspired.
Right. Which, if you called it Belgian inspired, not brewed by monks, I'd believe the former rather than the latter.
Is it brewed by monks? I didn't hear that.
Yeah, Abbey Brewing Company, made with care and prayer. It's made by monks in New Mexico.
Oh, okay. I thought
so. Exactly like Benedictine. Mexican. So I'm expecting Benedictine. Nope.
Yeah.
Novella Hub. John got Jeff's walls sloppy seconds.
No, mine's real. This is real wood.
Oh, well, that side is.
That side. Yeah, that side. Yeah, that's
what he was talking about.
That's like Jeff sloppy seconds / by my bit sloppy thirds.
Right.
At least I didn't paint mine white.
You should take a Dremel to it. I hear that ends well.
I hear that does great to it. Yeah. Uh-huh. I'll just paint it the exact same color as my wall used to be, and I'll have my lens not focus on the texture, so it basically looks just like it was.
Just like a white wall.
Just like a white wall.
Anyway, speaking of Apple and Epic and their situation that's going on right now, so the latest in the Apple Epic battle, Epic Apple battle?
Epic Apple battle? Yeah.
Technically, Epic's the aggressor, but Epic Apple battle sounds way better.
Yeah.
The Epic Apple battle.
Dun, dun. Let it go.
This time it's personal.
It's unreal.
It's unreal. There you go. EA Sports. It's in the game. So the Epic Apple battle rages on. In that Apple has now not only threatened, but I guess is going to carry through with cutting off developer tools from Epic and basically canceling their developer account.
Yeah.
Because of the non-following of policy that Epic has been doing in the game store that led to the removal of the Fortnite app. So this battle is heating up rather quickly. Now, I'll say this. Apple doesn't care about you, and Epic doesn't care about you. I'll be very clear about those 2 points. Apple wants its money because it makes money from the App Store. Apple makes more money from iPhone sales and the App Store than it does from pretty much any other branch of their business. I say pretty much, it's not even close. That is where they make their money. And the reason they make their money is because they take that 30% cut. And when you have 1 billion customers who are all giving you 30% on every dollar, that's a lot of money.
Yep.
Oh, plus you sold them a $900 phone that cost you $175 to manufacture. But that's another story. So Apple wants their money. Epic wants their money. Epic decided to institute their own DLC and in-game purchases into Fortnite. Apple said, well, that violates iTunes store policy, App Store policy, so we are going to remove your app from the App Store. Epic countered by suing them, saying that you don't have the right to force us to use your App Store in your ecosystem. So this argument has much, much bigger connotations than Epic versus Apple.
Yeah.
I've been avoiding talking about this subject because I don't want to, number one, clickbait. I also don't care. I don't care about Fortnite.
No.
I do care about the larger issue that's at stake here, though, and that is how much of a right do these companies have? And I'm talking Apple with the iPhone and iOS. I'm talking Facebook and Oculus. I'm talking Microsoft and programs you install into Windows. How much of a draconian policy can these companies institute on devices that you technically own? You go out and you buy an iPhone. Your only choice for software is the App Store. Period. Now, people say, oh, you can jailbreak. It's against Apple policy to jailbreak.
Yeah, and guess what? That now device is scratched and will never be serviced again.
Right. Well, yes and no. But just as long as you never need a battery replacement. But how much say does Apple have when they sell you a device, how you use that device? This court case may decide that. And that's what makes it interesting. I've been a longtime proponent of number one, right to repair, which Apple is not a fan of. And I love that Apple touts how eco-friendly their devices are and how easy they are to recycle and what sustainable materials they're putting into their iPhones. Yet on the other side of it, they're demanding and blocking as much as they possibly can the repair of those devices to keep them usable for longer and keep them out of landfills. Because eventually the phones will end up in landfills. Recycling almost never happens. Because Apple, number one, won't pay you for your device. They're not going to say, oh, if you recycle your device,
you get a discount, blah, blah, blah.
We'll give you a fair value. No, they'll go like, if you pay us $10, we'll recycle your device for you. Or we'll pay you $10. It's like, well, I'd rather keep the device in my junk drawer and then 4 years from now throw it away rather than just get $10 for it when it could sell used for $170 still. Those are... That's the economics of things. I'm either, gung-ho enough to sell my device on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace or eBay or, Gazelle or wherever I happen to sell things at, versus Apple just going, you know what, we'll give you $10 for it.
Yeah.
So, and then if I don't sell it at all, it sits in the junk drawer and then it gets thrown away. So, however, if I were able to repair said devices, then that might be a thing.
Then it's a great little hand-me-down.
It's a great little hand-me-down. I've got kids. They don't need top-of-the-line devices. They're fine with... we have, I think, 2 iPad Airs, which is the 5th generation iPad. We're up to what? The 13th generation iPad, I want to say? 12th? 13th?
If not about to be newer soon.
Like that?
Yeah.
Right. It gets fuzzy because in the middle there they had the new iPad, which was literally a model number of one of the iPads. I think that was the 7th or 8th generation iPad. But I digress. But yeah, it's how much ownership do you have over your device? And are you able to install your own software? Is another company able to set up their own web store and sell you software for that device? The reason I think Apple hasn't been brought up on antitrust charges like a Microsoft is simply because of the point that Apple doesn't have a monopoly of the entire handheld market. They own 40% of it. They own 35% of it compared to Android. Now, that's still a good chunk, but there's an alternative, and you're choosing to buy into the Apple ecosystem. And by buying an iPhone, you're making that choice. So there is something to be said that from Apple's perspective, well, there is another alternative. You can go buy another device. You can go buy an Android phone, and Godspeed.
Yeah.
But the size of Apple kind of counters that argument, and the number of devices that they have sold and the numbers that they tout in every single one of their shareholder meetings and every 3 months when they have a press event, we have to see, they've sold 1.7 billion iOS devices since the inception in 2006. They've sold, there are 700 million active iOS devices around the world. They tout these numbers every single time before they announce the next device that you have to go buy.
Yeah.
And so when you have a market share that large, that also brings some antitrust along with it. So this court case will be monumental in deciding not only can you buy Fortnite from another platform and from another store, and can Fortnite circumvent in-app purchases, which the argument for Apple kind of breaks down where they say any application, you have to make the purchase through us, right? That's what they say. If you want to download Fortnite, you have to download it from the App Store. And if you want to buy a skin for Fortnite, you have to buy the skin through the App Store. And Apple has to have its 30% credit. Well, that kind of breaks down with subscription movies and Amazon and magazine subscriptions and everything else. I don't recall giving Apple 30% of my Netflix subscription, even though I logged in through Netflix and I can make a purchase on my iOS device through Netflix. I don't remember giving Apple a 30% cut of my Amazon Prime membership. I don't remember giving them a 30% cut of my Costco membership. I don't remember giving them a 30% cut every time I buy something on Amazon. And so that argument kind of breaks down when that service already exists with other services.
Well, another interesting aspect about this whole Epic and Apple issue is that they're also going to not, like you said, their development license, which will no longer then support the Unreal Engine. Right. And it's not just games we're talking about. It's not just Fortnite. TV shows like another aspect that Apple, one of their products that they portray is for like video editing and big box company video editings, and for high-end graphics, the Unreal Engine is a industry standard now.
Yes, it is.
And come, the next update, you're screwed. Right. You can't do anything.
Apple is on the precipice of unveiling Apple Glass. Their glasses, which are augmented reality. How's the 3D rendering going to be done?
Yeah.
In third-party applications? I guarantee 30 to 70%, somewhere in a large section of that bell curve, is going to be with Unreal. Because Unreal supports the Metal architecture, it supports iOS through and through, or the Metal API rather. And you get bare metal performance in your 3D rendered applications and your AI processing and everything else, which is what Unreal delivers.
Yep.
So
good luck. Yeah. That's as soon as I heard that they were doing the Unreal Engine, I was like, I almost want to sit there and say they're trying to call a bluff on Epic. And I know Epic's already
trying to call the bluff on Apple.
Or yeah.
It's going both ways.
Yeah, they're going, everyone's just basically raising the bet. Right. They're 50 down. I see you're 50, here's another 50. Right. It's essentially just Riker versus Data.
Right.
Of like, I don't know how to bluff, so I'm just going to keep doing it. And Riker's like, I know I got the hand here, but I'm going up against an Android.
Yeah. Right. So, yeah. But this will define what app marketplaces will be, not only on handhelds, but on a lot of other devices. Yep. These ecosystems exist in much smaller niches than the Apple App Store. If you think to your smart TVs, and Samsung sells applications through a Samsung App Store on a Samsung Smart TV. LG does the same thing. Vizio does the same thing. Sony does it on their flippin' cameras. My A5100 has an app store. There's 4 applications you can buy for it, and one of them is to enable time-lapse shooting for $5.99. So I have a Sony username and account, and I got online and I bought that application, and so now my A5100 can shoot time-lapse photos. Is there a free alternative? Is there another alternative? Could a third party come in and integrate their software to this package? And can Sony block them? Is this... I don't know. But this will define much more than Apple versus Epic.
Yeah.
This may also boil down into right to repair, because does Apple have the right to seize counterfeit parts? Well, that doesn't exist in the car market unless you're marketing it as OEM, but you can market it as, we made this part for a Toyota Corolla, and Toyota can't do crap because they have to allow that part to be sold. So Apple's argument to the right to repair is, well, what's to stop someone from putting a counterfeit screen into an iPhone? Well, That's a choice for the consumer to make.
Yeah.
Because Apple, you don't own the phone anymore. So I don't know how far reaching this court case will be and where that gavel will fall. I'm actually very curious to find out which side it does fall on.
Well, I don't think it's going to be resolved anytime soon. And unfortunately, Apple's decision to stop their license ends August 28th. So right. I don't think anyone's going to be blinking anytime soon. I think we're not even going to hear about anything, probably not till like maybe next year, of a judge saying, I kind of see one point of this, so I'm going to rule on that point, and there's a million other points that still need to go on. And so what will Apple do? What will other devices do? What will other development companies do? It'll be interesting to see those articles of, what's going to happen. And will Apple try to come out with their own alternative to stay within the realm? And then, how sucky will it be because they had to release it so fast?
Yep. Epic signed a contract with Apple, then broke that contract. But here's the rub. Was that contract illegal from Apple's end? Does Apple have the right to define what software you as a consumer are allowed to install on your device and where you as a consumer are allowed to source your software? That's the question here. Contract breach or not, a contract can still be illegal.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be the crux of everything that happens here. Is Epic in the right by circumventing Apple's App Store policies? We don't know.
No. All right. Well, I'm all out of a beer.
I'm getting close to mine. So if you want to open yours,
all right. I have a Coastal IPA from Destination Unknown. If you saw my latest video, that was 22 minutes long of describing my latest Tavor double crate opening. God, that the PC couldn't handle that long of a video. But anyway, so it's an IPA with coconuts, mango, and vanilla. So it's another milkshake IPA. It just happened to be, it was on the top of the boxes, and I threw it in the fridge.
Yep. So you're going all in on those milkshakes tonight after giving them such hell in the intro.
Again, it was, I do have others. I did save a Russian River. I have a sour from Russian River.
There we go.
So I have that. And then I have a standby classic, Dawn of the Red. So always a classic. But
love me a Dawn of the Red.
I do.
So good.
But I like to save that one for everyday drinking.
Yep.
I figured I'd open this up.
Let's see if he gets this pour right.
Yeah.
Oh, that head's building awful quick. No, it's 1/3 of head.
It's a Jeff pour.
I'm sorry, is all the can in there?
This is, oh my gosh. This isn't a 16-ounce glass.
I would have made it fit. Water's compressible, right?
Is it past 10 yet? Okay, hang on. No, can't make any more jokes. I'll make another joke at 10 o'clock. Stay around to the 10 o'clock hour till my joke comes to fruition.
Better yet, join us in the after show.
Okay. That's better. It's nowhere near as sweet. Nowhere near as sweet. Although I'm not getting any of those flavors. So what did someone say?
American Cosmo said, suddenly I just realized that John reminds me of John reminds me hair-wise of that Battlefield Earth film. That is the most niche dig I have ever heard in my life, and I freaking love it.
Yeah. Wait, the protagonist or John Travolta?
No, I think he's talking to the protagonist. Yeah. You're a wild man, John.
Yeah, I don't get any of those flavors. I don't get coconut, mango, a little bit of coconut at the front end. No mango, no vanilla.
I'll say at the very end of this beer, I started getting some more Belgian flavors. They started coming up a little bit as it warmed up. It's still not nearly as bold as it should be. For a Trapel, 9.2% Belgian, it wasn't even close. It's a good beer. All of the flavors that I experienced were very, very good. I don't fault this beer for not being enjoyable. I felt it for not being the style that it set out to be.
I almost wonder if it was like a double version of like their regular Belgian, and all they did was just increase the malt, but kept the same hops and yeast. Yeah. But just increase the malt because you're saying it's just extremely sweet.
Yeah, it's a very, very sweet. Very, very malty. Not syrupy sweet, surprisingly, but still
malty.
Candy sweet.
Candy sweet.
Right. Like Lifesaver kind of sweet. Anyway, I'm gonna go get my other beer out of the fridge.
Okay. What does he have? What does anyone else in chat? Have you ever? Are you guys on your second drink? Any drinks? What is everyone drinking now? Let us know. Big Spoon. Shout out to the after party, not the after show. Jeff, you had it wrong. It's the after party. It is a party.
After party. You are correct.
Everyone is invited as long as you are on Patreon.
You are correct. Thank you.
And to join Patreon, there is the link in the description below. And it is only a minimum of $1, but more is always welcome. And it is, I will have to state, one of the best Patreon Discord channels I have ever been on. I am on quite a few other tech ones, and this is by far the most active, most diverse, and most friendly and welcoming. And I sound like an advertised used car salesman, but it is actually all truth. And the only reason is because I've stated this speech so many times. That's dispolished. I know, you're impressed. But no, really, it is that good.
It's not the word I was going to go with.
It's about as good as you introing every talking head. You're like,
right.
I know what I'm supposed to say, but I forgot.
You know what? I got everything in and the Patreon thing today,
You did. Yeah, I know. I was going to. I'm ready to catch that one. And, he said it. Okay. I was actually about to ask you if you had it written down.
I don't. I've never written it down. So this is Crooked Stave? You say
Crooked Stave,
yeah. Adam beer.
So Anime Freaker is drinking a Lagunitas Super Cluster right now. Skull has a Back Pocket Brewing Ray Gun IPA Volume 2. Ooh, because you sent me the Ray Gun one. That was a very good beer.
Hey, John, you see that? You see that pour?
You see that? That's a 12-ounce beer on a 12-ounce, or I think it's a 14-ounce
glass.
14-ounce glass. 16-ounce.
Still a good pour.
12-ounce glass. Still a good pour. Yes, no, that's a good pour.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get a bigger beer.
It's 9.2.
No, good volume size.
Volume. Yeah. Yeah. I will say the problem wasn't with your volume to glass ratio. Your problem was with your head to liquid ratio.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Someone's asking in chat for a shot of my living room. I did take one. And if you want to, all right, so I will post this. If you are a part of the Discord, you will see this post. Again, some of the cool, interesting things you get to see on the Discord. Talking heads. There we go. Post. Reverend just cracked a Maid Marian by 2 Towns. Maid Marian is a good, nice raspberry cider.
One of my favorite ciders from them.
Yeah, no, that's a great. It really does taste like just raspberry juice, essentially.
Whew.
How's that one? So that's the bourbon barrel aged sour alt beer, right?
Whew. Yes.
Yeah, alt beers are weird.
Wow. It's about all I can say right now for a review. Wow. I'm gonna have to come back to that one. Let's see.
To me, alt beers almost taste like they got infected by accident. And they're like, oh, this is the alternative.
Beer. Right.
Yeah,
this one certainly tastes infected.
Yeah, I know. They're interesting. Anyways, sorry.
It might be growing on me, but
hopefully that's good bourbon. And that's the other thing. It might just be like aged in bourbon barrels for 3 months.
Right.
You know.
Maybe they went with the Pabst standard and it touched bourbon at one point.
Yeah.
It's the LaCroix of barrel aging. Past a semi which contained bourbon bottles. All right. Moving right along here. Microsoft has confirmed the inevitable, and that is the death of Internet Explorer. That's not who the death bell tolls for. It tolls for IE.
Well, it's the Explorer and, isn't it?
And Edge Legacy.
Yeah.
So the IE base of Legacy is also, which was supposedly built from the ground up. It was Internet Explorer. Let's not kid ourselves. Windows 10 was built from the ground up, and it still has 16-bit code from the Windows 2 days. Don't tell me it's built from the ground up if you're reusing code that's 30 years old. Anyway, a surprise eTechnics article. I do try to troll my friends' sites, not troll them, but like phishing troll. If I find a relevant article and they happen to post a version of that article, I will post their version of the article on the show. So you'll see a lot of that.
I saw that. I was like, hey, I know that guy.
I know that guy. Hi, Andy. Even though Andy didn't write this one. No, Mike does most of the writing on the website. And Andy's the front man on YouTube. Anyway, so Microsoft has confirmed the inevitable, and that is the finally death of Internet Explorer and its Edge bastard child. And they have a timeline even for it. So if we scroll down here, August 17th is the announcement. November 30th, Microsoft Teams will stop supporting Internet Explorer 11. That's a pretty quick turnaround for Microsoft. Usually they're like, in 2 years, we'll stop providing things for it.
But we'll still run it for another 2.
Right. March 9th, Microsoft Edge Legacy, end of life. Edge will be dead. March 9th, 2021. And August 17th, 2021, Microsoft 365 stops supporting IE entirely. So all of your Office 365 products will have to find new life elsewhere. Probably on Chrome, but you could also use Edge Chromium if you'd like.
Yeah.
So, yeah. IE is dead. Long live Edge, I guess. About all there is to that story.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Edge is not horrible.
Edge Chromium is not horrible. I actually have it pinned on my start bar. On my PC here.
I have a shortcut on my desktop, but
it's my third browser option, but it's there and it's installed, and I don't mind it.
Yeah, I don't mind it. It's my second option. So,
it surpassed Firefox for you.
Yes, it did actually.
Wow.
I don't know. I've had some issues with Firefox. So Firefox is the third. I think it was more of just, this is new. Okay, I'll move it over.
Yeah.
Type of a thing.
Yeah. I installed the beta of it. I've been using it since the beta. I've been very happy with it so far. Certainly not enough to eclipse Chrome yet, but at the base of it, it's still just Chrome.
It is still Chrome. I do notice less RAM usage, a little bit. Not
we talked
much
about that, and that's a Windows feature, not a Chromium.
Not a Chromium feature, and so you know, again, it's
that's a little home cooking for
yeah.
you.
So,
but it's a solid browser. It's a very solid browser. Hashtag not sponsored, although call me. But mainly the reason it hasn't surpassed Chrome is the fact that I live in Google. I live in a Google environment. If I lived in a Microsoft environment, I probably would have switched over to Edge at this point, because integration is always better with native products. So, what's your guys' time at? Minnesota, it's 11:18. We're 2 hours behind you. We're Pacific time.
9. Yeah.
I like using Chrome since your bookmarks and browser history gets saved across devices, and that's one of my primary uses for it. Is I have on a daily basis 5 devices that I drive: cell phone, laptop, and between 2 and 3 desktops. And if I look something up on this desktop and I need to go across the room and install something on the other desktop using the reference I just looked up, it's awesome to just pull up the last tab that you had up on here over there.
Yeah.
That is like one of my primary use cases for Chrome, and why I let Google know every site that I visit. It's so that I can remember every site that I visit. Although do yourself a favor and never go look at Google Maps history.
Oh God. Yeah. It's freaky because it'll track you.
Scary.
I mean, even when you turn your GPS off, it's like, oh, we still know where you're at.
Right. We still know where you're at. We're just, 50 yards off instead of 6 feet off.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Well, we know you went to that block. We just don't know what house.
Right. Exactly. But yeah, I think I've told this story before, but I was looking at Google Maps one day and I happened to click on the history tab and I went, oh, this is really interesting. And I saw this one weird jet off in an area that I live in that I didn't remember visiting. I went, well, that's weird. And so I clicked on it and it said, oh, on May 27th, you visited this location. And I went, oh, that's right. I went to a comedy show way out yonder.
Yeah.
And it happened to be at this winery that was in an area of town that I never, ever go to. And sure enough, it had me driving in on the road that I took to the comedy show. It then had me driving back on the road. It knew that I stopped at 7-Eleven for 7 minutes on the way home.
Yeah.
It then followed me because I took one road in and I took a second road back because I took back roads to get back to the house because it was late at night and I wanted to have fun in the Z car. And so it had me tracked on the back roads coming back to the house. So it had the full circle that I had done and exact minute markers of where I was and what I was doing. And that's just for a random Tuesday night.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I can retrace my steps in Vegas and tell you what hotels I was at, what hour of CES.
Yeah, it's a little freaky, and even like I was saying, like you can still turn your GPS tracking off on your phone, but they'll still ping your cell tower and they still, triangulate that. Or if you're on a Wi-Fi hotspot, they'll still triangulate that.
And the reason they do that is if you have a Gmail account on your cell phone, you have to log into that Gmail account about every 15 minutes, sometimes once an hour. Well, when you log into Google, it grabs your IP address and it also grabs geolocation however it can. And so if you have a cell phone, it's going to triangulate your geolocation to get a login location to make sure that you are still you.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, you were here and this is a reasonable distance. You probably traveled. Okay, you're not in Taiwan. It's a
security feature, number one, and it does work.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to fault them for that. But at the same time, it's also kind of freaky that at no point during the trip to the comedy place that I went to had I used GPS to get there.
Yeah, it is freaky. And then you're like, what are they doing with that?
Right.
There's plenty of times a lot of companies will sit there, oh, we do nothing with their data, it's totally secure, and then 5 years comes out later, oh yeah, we were totally selling that data.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of phones though,
yes,
you had
one going into the grave and one coming out.
Yeah. You really enjoyed, if I remember correctly, your Blackberry.
I never owned a Blackberry.
I thought you did own a Blackberry. I owned a Blackberry.
No.
I thought you owned a Blackberry.
No. I was a Palm boy.
Oh, okay. I owned a Blackberry.
Yeah, no, I was Palm, then Handspring, and then back to Palm. Okay. When they bought the bastard child company that the original founders went off and founded in Handspring. and it became Palm again. No, I had a Handspring visor with a GSM modem on it, which would act as a cell phone, and it had a little speaker that attached to it, and there was a microphone down at the bottom of you. That was back when it was called a PDA.
Oh, yeah.
A PDA with a cell phone module.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I had. But no, for the longest time, I was a Palm Trio 650. That was my cell phone of choice for almost 5 years. And if you think in lifespans of cell phones, it was 5 years on that cell phone.
Oh, yeah, I know. I have people in my office, or you get in the latest Android, and I was like, no. I usually last 4 or 5 years before I buy it, unless it like completely shatters and breaks. Right. No, and sometimes I think my longest was like 7 years. Yeah. I had a phone because I was on like the Android or not Android, but like Galaxy 3 or something like that, and my wife was on 8, 9, and then she just handed me down or 8, and she handed me down hers, and so I jumped this huge gap.
Yeah.
Just because she kept taking my updates.
Yeah. Anymore, I go about every 2 to 3 is what I try to do. A couple of them have been forced early upgrades. A couple of them have been like, well, that was a bad decision. I need a new phone in 6 months.
Yeah.
But I try to stretch it out to about 3 years anymore. But 5 years. I had my original Palm. My original Palm Trio 650. I bought it at release, and I didn't use it until the iPhone 3GS came out, and I went and bought an iPhone 3G to tell you a timeline for it. And it's not that I didn't try other phones in that time, but if you think of the smartphone market in that time, the Trio was really the only one that even resembles a modern smartphone, because you had the Blackberry, you had Windows Mobile, you had some of the weird middle people with the Scion and the Samsung Blackjack.
Yeah.
Which was like, it's Windows with a full keyboard but no touchscreen and a weird interface. I had an HTC 8150 at one point, which was the slider Windows Mobile. So if you have the phone closed, you use it in portrait mode, and if you open it, it's in landscape mode.
Yeah, landscape mode, but then you have the full keyboard. Yeah, I had one of those. Yeah.
I had one of those. I used that for maybe 2 months and then went back to my Palm and went, I'm so sorry. I did that multiple times over the lifespan of the Palm, where it's like, okay, maybe I'm finally ready to move on, because, Palm came out with a 680, and then they switched hands like 4 or 5 times in the years that followed. There was also the 700W, which was a Windows-based Palm device, which was just freaking weird.
Yeah, I had one of those.
I still want a Palm Pro. If someone has a Palm Pro in good condition and you want to send it to me, my P.O. box is down below. I would love a Palm Pro, because I never got one. I had a Palm Centro at one point. This was after, I think, in between iPhones. I had a free upgrade on my cell phone plan, and I went, yeah, I like Palm. Maybe I'll go back to Palm. So I got a Centro for free. Because that was back in the day when AT&T just went, hey, you want a new phone? I went, yes, of course I do. And they said, here you go.
The glory days.
Yes. Before the dark times, before the empire.
Yeah, the HTC Singular 8125. I think that's the one I had.
8125, yeah.
Yeah, it was like a old Windows, some weird version of like NT.
Windows CE.
Was it CE?
CE6.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yep.
Compact
edition, if you remember.
Yeah, I loved that thing because at the time I was able to install emulators on it.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, this is the greatest. Who needs to ever download games anymore?
That's exactly why I bought it.
Yeah, that's why I got it too. It was the only reason
I only used it for 2 months because, oh my God, was that a horrible phone.
A horrible phone. I do remember that.
Awful. Anyway, speaking of old phones, Blackberry may be back in the equation for modern smartphones.
And now it's just a flip phone.
It's going to be running Android. So startup Onward Mobility has plans to release a 5G enabled Blackberry phone in 2021. Who owns Blackberry at this point? That's a great question. At last that I had heard, TCL was trying to use the Blackberry name and come out with devices, and then that kind of fell flat.
Because we talked about a BlackBerry phone a while ago.
Right. Here it is. TCL agreed to manufacture 2 BlackBerry branded phones. And in February, TCL decided not to renew their deal with BlackBerry. And so Onward Mobility, as a mobile startup, is saying, hey, we'll use your name.
Yeah.
So BlackBerry is, again, a thing. Hopefully we never have to run servers again.
I would love to see, because the phone that they have seems to have a full Q keyboard, and which is button based, not touchscreen. That's what at least what it looks like. Yes. I would love to see how that compares. Now the screen size, everyone's saying right now screen size is king because that's how you watch media and pictures and everything. So you are already limiting that, but I would love to feel that the keyboard again, see if there is a change now versus, modern touchscreen.
Do you know what I want back? Graffiti. That was the palm gesture based input with your pen. I was so much faster on that. Now really? I'm still a fast texter. I'm very fast. Starting to sound like Trump here. The best texture you've ever seen. Ask anyone, they'll say. But no, I miss Graffiti as an input because it was one gesture. You just memorize your 28 characters and your 5 specials. And they were very much like the letters. So A is an A and B is a B, C is a C, D. Like I still remember the Graffiti input. And I can still probably do it just as fast today as I did 10 years ago. But that's what I want. I want my stylus and Graffiti back. If Android came out with a Graffiti keyboard and I could use a stylus on it, I'm sold.
Now, see, you would think they would have something like that possibly to be able to do on like the Note because they're so large and they do come with pens.
Right.
But they're because swipe. Not necessarily like that, but they kind of have the drawing aspect of, all right, I'll swipe on the keyboard and learn via AI what you're trying to say or what you're guessing. Right. I've never liked swipe. 99%
I've never
of the
liked
time,
swipe. I've tried it a couple of times.
Yeah.
I'm actually not all that accurate on my 3A. It keeps wanting to do an enter instead of an N and a space instead of a period.
Oh, which is
and it hasn't learned that yet.
What is mine? It is I get a period instead of space or and there's a couple.
It's just my right thumb for some reason. Like I know where the button's at and I know I'm hitting it and it'll highlight the one next to it. It's like, no, I see where I'm pressing, you son of a
I will say there are a few times where I'm going fast, it's awfully close. But it's like, I just needed to rotate my thumb a little bit different. Like, no. You should know.
But you knew what I was trying to type.
Yeah, you knew what I was trying to type. And why is there... Now I have a period there. Thanks a lot.
Right.
and you're trying to write an email address. So-and-so dot so-and-so dot so-and-so. No, I wasn't trying to do that. This is all spaces.
Right. Yes, I meant to try to type craft
dot
puting.
Yeah, I know. And it's like,
yes, that's of course what I meant to type 3.5 years into this venture. Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah,
anyway,
so
coming back.
But I would be curious, because that is the one thing about the keyboard. I felt it. I have still to this day, I think a physical keyboard like that is faster, because you would then feel the points, the buttons. So that space that, hitting that button with your thumb, I would know, okay, I'm hitting both of those. I would probably then train myself to, I need to move a little bit over now.
Yeah.
Because I'm physically feeling it.
So someone just linked me to a Graffiti Pro keyboard for Android. I'm going to download that.
Oh yeah, look at that. Now, but do you have to do it with your hand, your finger? I bet.
Supposedly, if you use a stylus, you can use it with a stylus.
Well, yeah, but are you going to keep a stylus in your pocket?
I'm not going to keep a stylus in my pocket.
Yeah, so I'm assuming they're probably like, okay, use your finger.
Right.
Try it out.
But I'm curious to see how quick I am on it, because I was really fast at Graffiti. I went through college on Graffiti, taking notes on my Palm Pilot. So, yeah. So what's everyone using now? I've got a Pixel 3a.
I have a S10 Plus. The terabyte and a half option.
Jeez.
Yeah, I know. It's so stupid.
Does one man need that much porn on their phone?
More. Way more.
We've got to have it in 4K.
It's all categorized. That's the thing. Different folders. They're just... Yeah,
John, I could put that all in Plex for you.
Well, yeah, their 4K streaming is just not that good. And the VR aspect, I love that. So this is great. So.
Family friendly.
Wait, what time is it?
9:35. We're not there.
We're close. We're close
enough.
Okay. Hey, so that seems to be it for tech.
That's it for tech.
We do have a few beer / something news. Yeah. We can get into that, and then I think we could probably just spend the rest of the show answering questions, Q&A, or stuff like that. So we can kind of...
What can you make me rant about? I'm sure there's something you guys can pick at.
Nothing really, really interesting in the beer world this week. Because last week was really good. I really liked the Goose Island release news.
Yes.
A lot of those, I am very excited because all of those sounded very unique. They seem to go a little bit crazy, so very excited for those. But something that is widely known, if you ever go to a fair, you always constantly probably see things that are always deep fried. Everything is deep fried this, deep fried Twinkies, deep fried Snickers, deep fried pickles. Have you ever seen a deep fried liquid? And at the same time, have that liquid contain alcohol?
Does margarine count, or mayonnaise as a liquid? I think that technically does, because I've seen deep fried mayonnaise balls.
Is the mayonnaise still liquid afterwards?
Yes.
Well, okay. Is there alcohol in mayonnaise?
No.
Okay. So some guy in Texas has come up with a recipe to deep fry beer. Okay, whatever.
But I'm already a fan.
So it essentially looks like these tiny little ravioli type things, but he has been working on this recipe for over a year. And essentially what it is he's described it as basically taking, and the beer he uses is Guinness. So he's been using Guinness as a base, and he's continued to use it. But think of a pretzel and drinking a beer right away. and the bread is pretzel based, but he did not disclose the rest of the secret. But once you bite into it, it is a liquid, and he describes it as being more of a dipping sauce. So I'm betting there's probably a bit of mixture inside the dough to thicken up the beer, but there still is alcohol in this, and so you could essentially have pretzel beer bites as a snack at your county fair, if you go to Texas. But that was interesting. I've never seen deep fried beer before. So, but like I said, not super interesting. We're going with what we got because it was a slow news week in tech. But actually, the other story, this one I actually found semi-interesting, and it is our favorite brewery in the world, Budweiser. They are actually trying to do something that no brewery in the United States or state has ever done. And they are trying to actually get
Utahns drunk.
Yes, and so they really are. Utah just passed their 5% or 3.8% law, which allows higher ABV in grocery stores or higher ABV beers to be sold in grocery stores. Yeah. And so
meanwhile, we're still waiting for liquor.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we're here. We're like, let's increase past 20%, y'all.
Right. We can buy 19.9 in any store, but we have to go in Oregon. You have to go to a specialty liquor store, which is a state-run liquor store, to get 20 and higher.
Yeah.
So that means if you have a liqueur, like an Irish cream or coffee liqueur or something like that, that's under 20%, you can buy that here in grocery stores. In fact, Costco started carrying that lately. Yeah. Utah's just getting past the dark ages of, if you wanted anything past Pabst Blue Ribbon, you have to go to a liquor store.
Not even that. Pabst is like 4.8. So
that's right.
Yeah. So you had to, anything like ultra light, you had to go to a liquor store. And so, actually there's a big uproar. So, but Budweiser
in Oregon, we start at 5. I mean,
I know. So, so Budweiser is trying to make, Budweiser the official beer of Utah, and they're even kind of not trolling, but like putting out fake advertisements for Utonians. I guess that's the right word.
Yep. Utah's state beer.
As Utah state beer, they've even mocked up a beer can for them. They're trying to get the state's first official beer to be released because Utah has a lot of, hey, this is our official flower, our official fish, our official bird.
Yep.
Why not have an official beer? Because now, welcome to everyone else's, alcoholic level. That I found, I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting. I doubt it'll happen because there's probably, 50 other breweries there. They're like, hey, we're from Utah. You need to make our beer the official beer.
Right.
But this was pretty interesting. Kind of not a troll, but really good advertising. Budweiser does seem to do a really good job with their advertising campaign on this type of stuff.
Yeah.
The interesting, weird parts. So, but that was pretty interesting. And then some semi-local news for Jeff and I.
It's a local company technically, but it's also kind of big news.
It is. Well, it's actually, it's really big news.
It's a lot of money, that's for sure.
Yeah. So local company here based in Portland, Oregon, who a celebrity owned a portion of the company. I think it was like 30%, something like 30.
Ryan, if you, I think they stopped at calling it a substantial stock.
Yeah.
Or significant portion or something like that. But it's a large stake in the company.
Yeah.
And Ryan, if you ever want to come on the show, you are welcome anytime.
So, Aviation Gin. We have talked about Aviation Gin on the show quite a few times. We enjoy it. I think it is a very great introduction to gin. It's a very nice gin to drink straight. It's a very pleasant gin. Very well priced. Well, it might be going up actually because it just got bought out for $610 million.
Yep. So the ownership group that bought it is the same ownership group that owns Smirinoff and Jonnie Walker.
Yeah.
It's also the largest liquor ownership group in the world.
Yeah.
And they just bought pretty much the controlling stock of Aviation Gin. Now, this does not include Ryan Reynolds' stake in the company. He still owns the 30%, and he will still remain the public face of the company, they have said.
Yeah. So I think part of the deal was he has to maintain as a spokesperson for the next 10 years, actually.
So, yeah. But he still has a significant interest in the company.
Yeah, they didn't say exactly what, but yeah, they said significant interest.
It's enough.
It's enough to wet his whistle. But yes. The starting owner of Aviation Gin, they are now well off.
Yes.
Yeah. And they're relatively new. This is, I think, like a 5-6-year-old company.
Yeah, it's not an old company at all.
And they don't really specialize in anything other than, I think they have 2 or 3 gins out there, and really it wasn't until Ryan took it or became part owner of it, and I think it skyrocketed within like 2.5 years.
It skyrocketed when he became part of the ownership group, and that was only 1.5 years ago, because we talked about it on this show when he took it over, or became part of the ownership group, I should say. I want to say they're 7 years old. I want to say, because I had known of Aviation Gin for quite a while.
Okay, but still, that's still relatively new.
A pretty new company, right?
Yeah.
And for all of a sudden to have a market worth, 70% market worth at 600, that's $1 billion company.
Yeah. No, if I remember correctly,
that makes 4 products.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
I think if I remember correctly, I was read like Ryan only put in like 60,000 into the company, and that was like 30% of the company. So the company wasn't worth a whole lot.
Yeah.
1.5 years ago.
Yeah.
So but that also means the Aviation Gin will probably be available everywhere now, globally, or basically where stuff. And I really
everywhere you can buy Jonnie Walker and Smirinoff, you're going to find Aviation Gin now.
And I really like the gin. It actually is a really good. It's a very competitive flavored gin. If I was going to go to a party and I was like, I know everyone's going to bring vodka, and I know everyone's going to bring bourbon. I like gin. I'd probably bring that. I really would. I'd probably bring that over, say, a Bombay Sapphire, because I think this is a bit more approachable, a little bit sweeter, and a much better price point.
Yeah. Definitely.
So that is all of the beer/alcohol news we have for this show. And we are at 15, 20 minutes. We can do whatever. So in chat, what would you guys like us to talk about? And if you don't say anything, we're probably going to start talking about Star Trek Lower Decks.
I've only watched the first episode. I haven't watched the other 2.
Well, there's one tomorrow. So episode 3 is tomorrow.
Okay. So I'm only 1 week behind.
You're only 1 week behind. So
good. For some reason, I was thinking I was 2 weeks behind. I was like, oh no.
Or we can just start talking about it now.
Yep.
All right. Beatbox? No, we will not beatbox.
I can't beatbox.
No.
I have friends who do.
Yeah.
John is not one of them.
Nope.
Yeah.
I can beat up a box. I have a cardboard box I can just punch and be like, "You like that, huh? That's where you get. Now give me my money."
Are you proud of that joke?
No. I was like, well, I'm just like, I already committed to it by stating that. I was like, okay, I kind of have to follow it up with something because there's silence. And I was like, I gotta go the cheesy route because it's so atypical. So.
I got my first official dad joke in. Well, I've been doing dad jokes for years, but I got one of the classics in the other day. My daughter went, "I'm thirsty." I went, "I'm dad." She was. She's 7 and she got the joke and she was already done with my crap.
That's not funny, Dad.
Right. Oh.
All right. What do we got?
I still don't know what to think of this beer.
Oh yeah. You haven't said much about that, and
I'm
it doesn't look like
through. I've made a couple faces.
Yeah.
The flavor is dictated by how much you drink at the same time. Very much so. And it's not like the smaller the sip, the better it is. It's like there's this happy middle ground where it's like, okay, I enjoyed that drink. But if I take too much or just slightly too little,
yeah,
it's sour as all hell.
Or like I'm gonna take a super arrogant aromatic sippy
right,
and it's just like nope.
That was even worse.
That was even worse. Yep. There's I can only take a half a second of ingesting. It's like, all right, that was the perfect amount. How do I
see that was the right amount?
Yeah.
That was.
It's like, how do I duplicate that every time now?
Right. So that's what I've been kind of working on is how do I get myself to enjoy this beer so that I can review it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Seems like a good bottle to split. This is too much. 12 ounces of this is too much.
Well, when you said sour alt beer and then whiskey barrel, you said whiskey or bourbon?
Bourbon barrel.
Okay, so yeah. I thought
bourbon barrel aged.
Does it doesn't, and then we don't know the exact how long aging process.
We have no idea the aging process because the front of the label, that's all the information I have.
Yeah, I know. I hate when they do that.
The back of the label is Dortmunder sour alt beer, aged in bourbon barrels, 9.2%, 12.7 ounce. Surgeon General's warning. In accordance with the Surgeon General, women should not drink alcoholic beverages during pregnancy because of the risk of birth defects. Consumption of alcoholic beverages impairs your ability to drive a car or operate machinery and may cause health problems. UPC 8545120033123. Serve at 46 to 54 degrees Celsius or Fahrenheit.
No, yeah.
And we're there. That's where I'm at right now. Because my fridge serves at about 40.
Now, the problem with alt beers is like, okay, they're not necessarily supposed to be sour. Right. And that's why when you said it was a sour one, it's like, I'm betting it's infected. I'm betting it got infected during the barrel process. And they're like, it's a dark sour. Steve and I have had many discussions on dark sours.
On dark sours?
Yeah.
And how there's no such thing. It's just a happy happy accident.
It's a happy accident. Like, it's tolerable. It's a dark sour now. It's like, no, we meant this to be a fruity stout. No, it's a dark sour. I myself have had this happen. And actually it wasn't bad. It was like, okay, if I take it in this perspective, it's fine. But the fact that I knew it was supposed to be, it was like a coconut bourbon, and it was like, oh, the coconut got infected when I was steeping it, and so I didn't sanitize the coconut properly, so it had some sort of infection or yeast or something on it, and so over time it got sour. Yeah. So fresh it tasted good, but then I bottled it and I was like, oh, this is a sour. Then I let it age for another year. Like, oh, it's not bad now because I still get coconut and I still get rum, but now it's sour. Yeah. But it's aged long enough now, it's balanced. Yeah. I didn't mean to make this, but now it's a dark sour. Right. And with breweries, they're probably like, I have to still sell this.
So what I'm getting more than anything out of this is like a black cherry tartness, where the sour note itself is not terrible. I'm not getting any bourbon at all.
That means low aged.
Yeah. You can kind of smell it. You can kind of smell a little vanilla caramel kind of stuff on the nose. The nose does not match the flavor. Let me say that. Because the nose is actually very, very sweet.
Interesting.
Right.
Usually with a sour, you would think there'd be, an infection. Like, whoa, that's pungent to the nose.
I love the smell of this. This is like strawberry rhubarb kind of smell to it.
Okay, so it's more like a fruity aromatic.
Yeah, it's a sweet fruity aromatic.
Okay, so then that would be interesting. That's probably then is actually infected because alt beer is supposed to be dark malts, and so you are looking for more of that chocolate coffee,
right?
And infection.
It ain't chocolate, it ain't coffee.
You can have fruity aromatics with an infection.
Yeah.
And or maybe it got infected and then they killed whatever was in it, but
right.
That is interesting. Was that a Bite My Bits?
Yes.
Yes, called it.
Yep.
It was probably and you know what, actually it might have been fine, and it could also be the way the beer was stored. It could be really old, could have hit a lot of temperature changes and sunlight. So
this reminds me of that Firestone that we were so disappointed in.
Oh yeah. I was really. Hey, you still have the whiskey sour?
Yes, I do. Actually.
I was going to say, like, you better.
It's been in my fridge, which is actually working, so there's a chance it's still good.
But yes, so the video we planned almost a year ago.
9 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
been a while.
Another one of
No, it might be a year.
Yeah, I think it's close to a year.
Yeah.
Because I gave it to you. Yeah,
it was
month.
Late summer, early fall.
I think it was like 2 months before you moved from your in-laws.
Which we're at 10 months now.
Yeah, so yeah.
So yeah.
So pretty close. It was supposed to be our follow-up to the old-fashioned.
Yes.
Whiskey sour.
We'll get there one day.
We'll get there one day. Extra aged beer.
Yep.
So yeah. I still have all these wonderful old beers or crappy beers that you're supposed to drink, and I left them in the non-working fridge, by the way, so they're nice and warm now.
Oh, excellent!
Yes, so they are getting.
I can't wait.
A wonderful treatment. That might be a Patreon only video, so join Jeff's Patreon to find that out.
There's going to be a lot of swearing,
a lot of bottle throwing at the end of it. Scream!
Good John.
Yeah. I got like 5 minutes. So what did you think of Lower Decks episode? We'll just talk episode 1 because we only got a couple minutes left.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Okay.
I did. It is some people say it's very Rick and Morty inspired. I see Rick and Morty in the art style and in some of the joke delivery where it's very, very quick.
Yeah. I agree with that.
The words fly by at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and you're gonna pick out different jokes on your second, third, and fourth watch.
And you really need to know the universe.
You need to know the universe to get it, and so it's a high IQ show. No, but
there are all those subtle background things that are like, oh, they did that. Oh, there's that animated in the background, and yeah, it is just like Rick and Morty. It's a similar animated style of like Rick and Morty. Yes, I agree with all that.
There's a similar attention to detail that I've noticed where Rick and Morty, everything is in frame for a reason.
Yeah.
And there's a joke even if it's just in the background and it's blurry and it's on frame for 4 frames. There's a reason that was written into it. And so I do like that aspect of it. It's an interesting watch. Character-wise, obviously they still have to grow on me a little bit. I need to see who the characters develop into. I love that the girl is the daughter of the captain. I think that's funny. I think the way they set it up is like, don't you honey me, you stuck up son of a, sorry, you're breaking up subspace.
Yeah, I know.
Love you.
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious. I like that it's not taking itself seriously at all. I thought the best part was actually the intro. I loved the intro. Yeah.
I thought the song was very. I'm glad they went back to instrumental. It actually almost reminisced of TNG Deep Space Nine Voyager. It almost felt like
the golden age of Trek.
The golden, and it felt like all three of those, the orchestra felt like all three of them kind of came together, and that. But then the visuals of, oh, we're a very weak ship, and they go to
Ooh, the Romulans are fighting the board.
Oh, they're on. Screw that, boys. You know, they're doing the whole.
You just froze for 3 seconds in the most glamorous selfie ever.
That is the the thumbnail.
That's the thumbnail. There it is.
Where they're doing like the Voyager over the ice caps, but then they scrape their nacelle.
Yeah.
You know, that whole scene.
Yep.
There's a lot of tongue in cheek of old references, but it's like you have to. They're very subtle. You have to know everything about it. You have to know
the lore already.
You have to know the lore. Yeah. So I really like that aspect
which
of
is
it.
a reference in itself. But no, I really enjoyed it. You like the title sequence. I like just the very intro of the show. You know, the cold open of the captain's log started. Blah, blah, blah. You know, the Centurios is en route to make second contact with the alien world of blah 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 blah. And it's probably the most important thing because first contact, you know, they're just doing this, but we need to figure out. And then the door opens, and, it's like, and then the door opens. It's like, you're making a captain's log, and it's an ensign where.
Yeah, it's an ensign.
No, leave me alone.
We're encouraged to make logs.
Right. Well, let me listen to it. No.
Yeah. And then like we'll check out this
Romulan
ale. Yeah.
Are you drunk? Well, yeah. That's Romulan ale. That's illegal. Well, yeah, that's because it's awesome.
Yeah. Well, check out this rusty batlet I just got.
Is that blood?
Yeah. I love. So I love that whole thing. Basically, that and the intro were really good. I think it's just a little rough around the edges of just its first episode. You know, first episode, first season. I did the same thing with Rick and Morty. I did the same thing with most of these cartoons. We will judge it better probably at the end of its season, and then after I watch it 3 times through because you know they're quick 24-minute episodes. So far, I personally think, I'm not going to spoil anything for you, episode 1 was way better than episode 2.
Okay.
I think
I've come to expect that.
Yeah, and it was a
I feel we'll probably get our stride back about episode 5.
That's exactly what I was going to say. There is a bit more character introduction in episode 2. That was the one thing it seemed like they pushed in episode 1 and 2. They pushed a lot of characters on you, and there's no development so far. Again, similar to Rick and Morty, to where like they, you know, season 3, 4, and 5, or 3 and 4, they started really introducing more of the sister and the dad and the mom, you know, basically the family as a whole. To where season 1 of Rick and Morty was just Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty, right?
Yeah, and so this seems like I'm introducing the whole entire crew to you.
Yep.
And our first episode was all of Lower Decks. Episode 2, there's some
senior staff.
Is a lot of senior staff. You get to see all the senior staff and interact with them, but there is still some really good stuff. I really enjoyed the zombie apocalypse in this episode, the episode 1. And the love walk, you know, they even did the spacewalk with
the spacewalk was hilarious.
Yeah, you know, really enjoyed again all those little references.
So what kind of music are you into?
Yeah. I will say this: I personally think most of the references in episode 1 were like TNG, DS9, you know, the golden age. Episode 2, most of the references to me felt like original TSO.
TOS, yeah.
TOS, yeah. It just felt more like something like that. But they do that second contact type thing. So that was funny. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I will say most of my workday on Thursday morning is like, no one talked to me for 30 minutes. I got my cup of coffee. I'm watching Lower Decks.
Yeah, tomorrow I think that's kinda how I start my morning too.
So, except you'll probably end up having an Irish coffee.
I might.
Or a beer, whatever.
Whatever
Yeah.
I fancy.
Whatever. And if you want to see Jeff constantly troll me on his lunch breaks, now, because I might have
You've
done
got
it to
9
him.
years of catching up to do, John.
I might have trolled him for a long time.
So John, for a very long time, has been allowed to drink beer at lunch or have the occasional beer with lunch. And so every time he has one, he's been texting me for 9 years.
Now I can't. And guess who can now? And has no problem expressing it and showing it to everyone. Not just me, everyone.
Yep.
Twitter, Discord. Hey, John, guess what I'm drinking
John.
now?
Hi.
Hi. Oh, I'm at a tap room right now for lunch. They have great burgers. I just picked up a burger. Oh,
I haven't even gone that far
growler.
yet. This has just been stuff I've opened from my fridge.
I know.
I haven't even started, expanding my horizons yet.
I'm
payback
afraid.
has only just begun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh.
Oh. Anyway, is there anything else we can talk about? Apparently, the Graffiti keyboard for Android is actually written by a company named Access. And Access was the original developer of Graffiti for Palm OS.
Oh, there you go.
So it's literally Graffiti.
So you have promise. Yeah, it's good promises.
Yes.
Yep.
So I'm going to download that. Probably as soon as I get off of the live show tonight.
Oh, I remember this. Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is very basic.
Yep. But I remember what Graffiti is. I still remember all the characters. So F is a 7. T is a backwards 7.
Yeah.
Those are the weird ones.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at.
Yep.
And then K is a weird.
K
loop.
is just the.
Yeah.
Yep.
H is lowercase.
Yep. Yeah, there's a mix of upper and lowercase. There's enough of the letter to make it a distinct shape, but not necessarily all of the letter is included.
Yeah.
And then a couple of them, there's a little too much. Like D, you have to go all the way down and then back around. Why can't I just make a backwards C? Because that would work.
Good point. Suggestion box.
Yeah.
Same with R, it looks like.
Yeah. With R, I could just do the inverse of F. I could start at the bottom and go to the top and make, a 7 kind of thing. But instead, I've got to do the full R.
Yeah. That was what they were tired of, like, screw it, just have them write the damn letter.
Right. Yeah, same with B. You have to go all the way down with B, back up, and then connect. Whereas I would just prefer to do the backwards
The 3.
because E is like this. E
Yeah,
is
that
E
makes
E is your language arts teacher in high school going, you can't write it like that. Why? It's got 3 points pointing out that way. You know what it is.
You know what it is.
It's not proper. Yeah. Anyways. It's 6 after. I think that's a good show.
Yep, that'll work.
Thank you so much for watching episode 146 of Talking Heads here on Craft Computing. If you liked the video, make sure to click that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Subscribe to Hops and Brews as well if you like the beer content. Link is down in the video description below. If you really like the content, consider joining the Patreon. Link is also down in the video description. Minimum donation of $1 per month gets you access to my exclusive Discord server where you can chat with myself, John, Steve, Rhett, all of the hosts from Talking Heads. Pick our brains, join the community. It's a great, great Discord. I cannot pimp it enough, and it's the community that makes it worth it. I mean, I'm awesome and everything, but they're the ones that are that make the community great. So, thank you so much for watching. Join us every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific time for the latest in beer and tech news, and we will see you then.
See you guys.
Peace out.